Silver is, to me, the most undervalued asset on the planet, and importantly so much so that 8 Western banks feel it's relevant to short it to the degree of the largest. I think install confidence in a system that's dying for some confidence, dying for something real, because we've squandered that, ad nauseum. So yeah, I think gold and silver will go higher than anyone thinks possible. 100%. And what we see in Shanghai is just the very beginning of it. I think before it's all said and done, you'll see them jack prices up more and more and more and more in the last ditch attempt to siphon away anything from this fraudulent Western system.
Andy Schectman, CEO and president of Miles Franklin, highlights that the ongoing gold and silver pricing disparity between Western markets and Shanghai reveals a deeper narrative of economic power plays and market manipulation that connects to broader global financial strategies. Recently, silver prices on the Shanghai Metals Exchange have been significantly higher than those in Western markets, with the gap widening from a few dollars to a notable difference. This disparity offers a profitable arbitrage opportunity, allowing traders to purchase silver cheaply in the West and sell it at a premium in the East. This growing price difference suggests deeper market distortions and hints at a strategic struggle for control over precious metals. These distortions in the precious metals market are increasingly significant as global financial entities, like the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, start to pivot towards gold as a potential anchor for future economic stability. Once dismissed by the IMF as a barbarous relic, gold is now being reconsidered as a vital reserve asset in an evolving monetary system. This new interest in gold emphasizes a growing concern about the long-term viability of fiat currencies, especially those lacking tangible backing, which are now facing an erosion of trust and credibility. Given this backdrop, countries with significant financial resources and strategic foresight quietly accumulate gold and silver reserves. They appear to be capitalizing on what Andy views as the West's artificially suppressed prices to build their stockpiles in anticipation of a potential shift in global economic paradigms. In such a scenario, these suppressed prices are seen as temporary anomalies, tools of a dying financial order, rather than indicators of real value. Once the accumulation phase ends, Andy suggests that the suppression is likely to give way, potentially triggering a sharp upward revaluation of these precious metals. Before diving into Andy Schectman's insights, subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated with all our latest content. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the video.
I don't know that if it really is what the real price. So in Shanghai for a long time now, the price of silver has been much higher than in the West. It started out $2 higher, 250, 350, $4 higher on the Shanghai Metals Exchange. And I think that's well below what it should be, but it's enough to entice the idiotic traders who have the ability to buy in the West and deliver in the East. That's a pretty hefty arbitrage for them when you're talking millions of ounces. So yeah, I think this is certainly something that you could see being raised higher and higher and higher and higher to arbitrage everything that isn't nailed down. And so, with all the talk of revaluing gold and gold anyway, in the gold revaluation account these days, Senator Cynthia Loomis, the senator from Wyoming, talking about using it to fund the Bitcoin strategic account that Trump talked about when she spoke at the Bitcoin convention in Tennessee. The real price of gold and silver, no one knows what the hell it is. That's the truth, because of all of the distortions in asset prices over the last half a dozen years due to low interest rates and easy money. The one things that were stepped on and weren't allowed to over express themselves were gold and silver. And just based by the acquisition and by the backing of, when you look at the BIS and the IMF plans for cryptocurrencies or central bank digital currencies, it all seem to be pegged to gold to some degree, whether it be the unit or the report that came out of the IMF saying gold is a barbarous relic, or an international reserve currency, a barbarous relic no more, question mark, or the Kristalina Georgieva, the head of the IMF, saying, CBDC is not pegged to something, would be fiat. They're all talking about gold, and I think the price is way distorted. And these countries have been using the suppression of the West to accumulate. And when they all have it, that suppression will end. It will end badly. You can only manipulate a market by pushing in the direction it's going, at least for an extended period of time. And these countries are now like I've been saying, motivated, coordinated, sophisticated, and wealthy, and they are using every chance they get to drain the system using these Western prices, which are artificial. They are not real. And even though they're higher in Shanghai to entice arbitrage, they're not real. They're not real, even remotely real. And they'll be much higher based upon the amount of currency creation and based upon the projects that are coming and what it means to, I think, install confidence in a system that's dying for some confidence, dying for some. So yeah, I think gold and silver will go higher than anyone thinks possible, 100%. And what we see in Shanghai is just the very beginning of it. I think before it's all said and done, you'll see them jack prices up more and more and more and more in the last ditch attempt to siphon away anything from this fraudulent Western system.
China's growing dominance in the global commodities market is becoming increasingly evident, revealing a meticulously planned strategy. As the leading producer of silver and the second largest producer of gold, China's expanded influence in these sectors is unmistakable. Recent trends highlight that China is not only maintaining its top position in silver production, but is also significantly ramping up its gold output. Additionally, China has recently become a net importer of silver, reflecting a shift in its approach. The country is buying unrefined silver from global markets and returning it home. Meanwhile, India has stockpiled approximately 7,800 metric tons of silver in recent years, far surpassing what is available on Western exchanges such as COMEX and the LBMA. Andy Schectman suggests that this aggressive accumulation indicates a deeper appreciation of the intrinsic value of silver and gold, which appears to surpass the value of the currencies used to acquire them. In contrast, Western perspectives often fail to grasp the strategic importance of these actions, possibly missing their broader economic implications. Initiatives like the BRICS Grain Exchange further illustrate how China and its allies are working to shift the global balance of power and redefine pricing mechanisms for essential commodities. If more people were aware of these strategies, it could prompt a significant reevaluation of the global economic landscape.
China's the largest producer of silver in the world, and they've just became a second largest producer of silver, largest of gold, but they just became, over the last few months, a net importer. These countries are viewing commodities the way we've been talking about, the way that they would, and that the way that they are, and the West doesn't tell anyone, and so no one understands how significant this really is. But if it were so archaic, if it were so underperforming, then, you know, and that he showed, where 8 banks hold the largest concentrated short position in silver of any commodity ever traded in COMEX history. Why? Silver is more important than the West is leading on to, and that is why you see China flying around the world buying unrefined silver and shipping it back. That's why you see India buying 800 million thousand metric tons over the last 3-4 years. This is a situation where silver and gold are far more valuable than the currencies that purchase it. Much of the world understands this. We don't, and to try and play games and try and bottom feed and get lucky, it's not something that I think will go over very well, especially with such a small participation of the U.S. public. If gold and silver are doing what they have been doing, let's forget about silver because it's been held down. But look at gold, and silver will surpass gold in percentage terms, I believe, before it's all said and done. But if gold is doing what it's doing with positive real yield, forget about the nonsense out of the BLS and all that stuff, but a positive real yield, a strong dollar, and waning participation by the West, what happens when that changes? What happens now that we're pivoting and we're going to lower rates and we're going to weaken the dollar and we're going to reignite inflation? And, does the public wake up to this and start buying? It's rocket fuel. But much of what we see in the metals market is illusionary, unfortunately, because it's the antithesis of the system that has been allowed to rise unabated versus gold and silver, which have been stepped on. And although they continue to move, I would argue stepped on to the point where they have not been allowed to fully express themselves to their real potential. Even gold, which has outpaced the S&P 500, and doubled the performance of the 10-year Treasury. Gold's 9.9% per year. It's up 20% this year. It's beating the tech industry. Where the hell is the mainstream media telling us?
Yeah, right.
Silver is far more strategic than they're letting on. It's used in all the high-tech weaponry. And we're selling weapons around the globe. Look at the money they just again gave to the Ukraine. It's 100% in weapons. And so they need silver in order to create these weapons. And that's the hidden secret. The congressional meetings that they had in the 40s and the 50s that talked about the massive amount of silver needed it for military. 200 million ounces a year they were talking about when weapons were nowhere near as sophisticated as they are now. So you ask yourself, why does silver do what it is? Why isn't it performing? Why is gold doing this and silver isn't? Why is it being stepped on? Why? Well, why are 8 banks shorting this when China's flying around the globe buying unrefined silver and India is buying 10 times the amount that is available for sale in COMEX and 2.5 times the amount that's available on the LBMA? Why? Because they know what we're doing. It's the exact same thing as the guy said in 2015, who runs the Shanghai Exchange. When China is allowed to speak at the table, the real price of gold will be known. It's the same thing as the guy who is now running the BRICS Grain Exchange. We produce more grain than the West does, and we cannot control the price. It's all controlled on COMEX, but this new grain exchange will change that. They know what we're doing.
The artificially suppressed gold and silver prices in Western markets may trigger a fascinating global shift. As Western nations keep these prices low, other countries will likely seize the opportunity to accumulate vast reserves. The current pricing trends in Shanghai could signal the beginning of a significant upward movement. This trend may escalate as countries seek to capitalize on Western financial mismanagement and asset drainage. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content like this. Until next time.